On today's Strictly Vikings, we talk about what Russell Wilson would look like in a Vikings uniform. We talk the last preseason game against the Eagles. We're going to go through some roster cutdowns. Of course, our Facebook scroll of the week. I'm going to give you my Super Mega Max Goat Whale guarantees for the following week. We're going to look forward to that week 1 matchup against the Giants. And of course, we're going to finish it off with our random ChatGPT Vikings player. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, August 28th, and the ESPN talking heads are back at it again. That's right, Mike Tottenbaum from ESPN went on First Take, Get Up, I forget what it was, one of those morning shows, and he was just spewing some more nonsense about the Minnesota Vikings. He was saying that the Vikings should make a serious trade to try and get Russell Wilson from the Steelers. And why is he talking about this? Because it's the most dead time for sports in America right now. There's literally nothing going on. And remind you, this was before week 0 college football. This was before, the last preseason games, whatever sports are going on. There was nothing going on. And he was looking for something to spark conversation. And I guess it worked because I'm leading the show with it. But the fact that we're saying Russell Wilson should become a Minnesota Viking less than 2 weeks from the first game is crazy to me. Why would they ever make a trade to acquire an aging quarterback that hasn't shown to be he hasn't shown any of his past self in any of the games he's played in the last 2 seasons? I mean, he's sucked. Denver paid him $30-some million to get him out of Denver. They paid him $30-some million for him to not play on the Broncos. And you're telling me the Vikings should go out and actively pursue this guy? It absolutely makes no sense to me. And for all those people saying, oh, J.J. McCarthy can learn behind him. No one wants to learn behind Russell Wilson. He's so stuck in his own ways. He has his own little tendencies. His own office shit in Seattle was crazy. The fact that he has to have his own office away from the rest of his teammates, not a football guy. Russell Wilson is the exact opposite of a football guy. And it's amazing to me that he was that good for a very long time in the NFL and just completely and utterly fell off a cliff. Literally just out of nowhere. The last year in Seattle, he was whatever. Then he got to Denver, and my God, plays the most boring brand of football I've ever seen in my life. Not to mention, Sam Darnold has been here the entire offseason. We signed him for $10 million, and he's been learning the playbook. He's with the guys. Why would you mess that up all right now? And I don't know why it makes me so frustrated. I think it makes me so frustrated because I could go on ESPN and spew this bullshit. Why does Mike Tottenbaum get to go on ESPN and spew this bullshit? Bring me on for these stupid, never going to happen hypotheticals. I'll be happy to join the show, talk with Stephen A. Smith about some A1 garbage on Russell Wilson coming to the Minnesota Vikings. It makes no sense why he gets to do it and nobody else can, because he's just spewing random junk about teams he doesn't even pay attention to. Anyway, on to the next thing. Mike Tottenbaum, you got your segment. Congrats, man. You made it on Strictly Vikings. I know it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to you in your career. Mike Florio is starting to amp up Sam Darnold, and I don't like this. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, avid Vikings fan. He was starting to amp up Sam Darnold about how he has all the pieces around him. Kevin O'Connell, best situation he's ever been in his career, which is all true. But as soon as Mike Florio starts amping you up, it's like, damn, I know that's going to bite us in the ass. Because whenever the Vikings start getting talked up or Sam Darnold's going to have the best career of his year, I feel like it's just always going to be the exact opposite, because that's what happens to the Minnesota Vikings. And I don't want to hear out of Mike Florio's mouth that he thinks Sam Darnold is going to be good, because I know he's going to turn around in week 4 after the Vikings are 1-3 and be like, the Vikings made a major mistake signing Sam Darnold. They needed to sign blah, 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 and blah, 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 and all this junk. I don't even know. But it's Mike Florio is, I can almost guarantee, I should put this on the Super Mega Max guarantees. I will before week 1. I'll do some season ones or something, that Mike Florio will say Sam Darnold was a bad signing sometime this football season, after amping him up, saying he's going to have one of his best seasons of his career. Mike Florio, whatever. Going back to kind of the Brian Flores stuff from last week, Andrew Van Ginkel, Grenard, Harrison Phillips, they all kind of stood up there when Flores was making his comments about the Tua allegations and all that kind of ordeal, whatever it was. But it was good to see those guys back him up. It's good to see that Flores has guys in the locker room that really enjoy him, and I didn't doubt that at all. But it's good that, they went up there, stood up for him. It was a touchy subject, and the players kind of had his back, and that was just good to see. And Andrew Van Ginkel said he wouldn't be the player he is today without Flores, and it's just refreshing to hear that players like Flores, and Tua was maybe just being a little crybaby bitch about Flores giving him a hard time. And Tua, see, I don't know enough about it, what was actually said, so I can't comment on it that much, but I feel like Tua was just being a crybaby bitch about it. So hopefully everything moves on. Tua, you got some things to worry about. I guess he doesn't. He just got paid. He can do whatever. Justin Jefferson had some high praise for Jalen Naylor. I think it was on Kyle Long's podcast, and he gave props to Malik Neighbors and Tank Dell before saying Speedy, a.k.a. Jalen Naylor, is going to have a huge season for the Vikings. So the fact that Jalen Naylor is getting mentioned in the same sentence as Malik Neighbors and Tank Dell, that's pretty exciting. I've watched Jalen Naylor all training camp, and he's looked awesome, making great plays, scoring touchdowns, locked up that wide receiver 3 spot, and I'm super excited to see what he can do this year. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor is, that's a top 3 trio in the NFL right now. And honestly, it might be number 1. After Jalen Naylor makes some noise, it might be number 1, because Jordan Addison's one of the best wide receiver 2s in the entire game. And of course, we all know Jefferson's the best one out there. Vikings cut Bo Richter. I've talked about Bo Richter quite a few times on this show. Very disappointing to see and hear that he's gone. The next J.J. Watt that I said he was going to be cut. I don't think J.J. Watt ever got cut from a team. Maybe like 6th grade youth team. Probably not, though. But Bo Richter, it's all right, man. Maybe you can make the practice squad. I'm sure a decision would have already been made on where he's going to be at by the time this gets released, so we'll see. Another shocking cut, Kene Nwagwu got waived by the Vikings, which was kind of surprising to see, considering he looked good in the preseason as a running back. I would have to imagine that this comes with the new kickoff rules and kick returners not being that much of a important roster spot as they used to be. So Kene Nwagwu, that sucks to see. And, a lot of other guys got waived too. I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis on the Vikings 53-man roster and all that stuff, because too many people do that. Guys getting waived that you've never even heard of. It's kind of hard to keep up with when the Vikings waive guys. I mean, they have to cut this roster down from 92 to 53. So going through every single player that got cut or waived takes too long. You guys can do your own research. I'm not the one to get that from. This is just we're talking sports, man. I'm not going through the in-depth analysis of the Vikings roster. Mo Ibrahim got cut though too. Gopher legend. Mo Ibrahim, however you want to say it. And dang, another guy just got released as I'm recording this right now. Duke Shelley, Vikings legend, man. Pour one out for the Duke. Duke Shelley. Man, that stinks. And then let's just get into the preseason game notes. I was going to talk about Will Reichert a little bit, but I'll talk about him in the preseason game notes here. I was in Florida, was there for some high school football, so I was half watching the game on my laptop. Was kind of paying attention, kind of not. I watched the first half. Second half, I missed a little bit. But first thing I had on my notes, Nick Sirianni has such a punchable face. I mean, the game hadn't even been kicked off yet, and I already wanted to sock that dude in the face because he has such a punchable jaw. And he's a Philadelphia Eagle coach, so that doesn't make things any better for me. I hate the Eagles. A lot of Vikings fans hate the Eagles. And when you look like that and you're the Eagles head coach, that's just a bad mixture. You're going to get a lot of people to hate you. And a lot of people do hate Nick Sirianni, and I'm one of them. Never met the guy. He's probably a great guy. But just looking at him on the TV, damn, he's got a punchable face. And, it's really unfortunate because if he looked maybe a little different, acted a little different, because, he just acts like an asshole. The Chiefs game last year when he was like, whatever, but that's when the downfall started. I've never been more excited for a team's downfall than the Philadelphia Eagles last season. They just were terrible. The Vikings' second-team offensive line looks sharp. Nolan Smith starting the third preseason game for the Eagles. Shout out Eagles, man. First round pick. They said Nolan Smith was a steal at pick 20, whatever he was. Congrats, guys. He's playing in the third preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings second-team offensive line, and he looked terrible. Congrats, Eagles fans. You guys got a steal. Great to hear that your first-round pick is really panning out, because I know you guys just love to talk about how the Eagles crush the draft every single season. Man, congrats, Philly. That's awesome. Jaron Hall. Jaron Hall looks sharp, but Jaron Hall will make a throw. Jaron Hall will make the worst throw you've ever seen in your entire life, and you question why he's an NFL quarterback. But then the next 3 plays, he'll just rip off like laser throw, move around in the pocket, step up, deliver a bomb, like whatever it is. Jaron Hall always will throw. Crappy throw, follow it up with 3 good ones. And that's good for Jaron Hall. I'm glad he made the roster, or he's going to make the roster, and I'm glad he's balling out in preseason. He deserves it. He got put in some crummy situations last season, but it's good to see Jaron Hall going out there balling out. I'm pumped for him. I'm glad he's the Vikings quarterback 3. And as much as he's been good in preseason, I really hope we don't have to see him in the regular season, because that means we had some injuries happen, or Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins didn't live up to the hype. But Jaron Hall was looking pretty impressive. That Hall-to-Hall connection, made a video about it. That Hall-to-Hall connection, man, it needs a nickname. And I know it's probably never going to happen again, but it might need a nickname going forward. And the other quarterback, Matt Corral, man, what a sad 2-3 weeks that dude had in Minnesota. He was here during the perfect time of the year, the summer. Maybe he could have gone to the state fair, maybe. It was perfect time to be in Minnesota, but damn. On the field, that dude couldn't catch a break. He would drop back and get absolutely rinsed within 2 seconds of dropping back. He was playing with that Vikings third-string offensive line. Man, he couldn't catch a break. The first snap he went out there against the Browns, he got like a safety. And then the first snap he got out there against the Eagles, he got absolutely smoked. So, tough couple weeks for Matt Corral. I wish him all the best. The Vikings waived him, but, Jaron Hall's got that quarterback 3 spot locked up. And it was a tough 2 weeks for Matt Corral, man. I feel bad for him. Tristan Jackson, he's a dog. And I've said this before. The Vikings have the best wide receiver room in the entire NFL. When Tristan Jackson's your wide receiver 4/5, and he's going out there catching a touchdown in every preseason game he plays in. He plays like 1 or 2 drives every game, but he's good for a touchdown every preseason game. He's a dog, and he deserves a spot. And if he was on a different team, I'm almost guarantee he'd be playing. Like, if he was on a team with worse wide receivers, he'd be playing and getting real action. That's how confident I am in Tristan Jackson. I've been on this train for a while. I was tweeting about him last training camp about how he was making plays and how the Vikings might want to play him in some games, especially when Jalen Nailor was hurt last year. So Tristan Jackson, man, shout out him. Caleb Evans started the game. Not a huge fan of that. Starting cornerback from last year. I don't think he's not going to be the starter this year. We got Gilmore and Shaq Griffin and Byron Murphy. But yeah, Caleb Evans is still playing. I had high hopes for Caleb Evans at some point in time. Those high hopes have vanished, and they are nowhere to be found now. I'm hoping he can get back to his old self and really start making some impact plays if he needs to play for the Vikings. But, man, you hate to see him playing in the third preseason game. Will Reichard, 57 yards, dude. Damn. I mean, he got first field goal of preseason. He got blocked, and I was like, shit. Not looking ideal. But Will Reichard, 57-yard field goal, had a couple more not chip shots, but short field goals that he made, and Will Reichard's looking good. And of course, I'm getting my hopes up about a Vikings kicker once again. He fits the part. He looks like a good kicker. He's playing like a good kicker. But of course, he's got that purple jersey on, so anything could go sideways at any given moment with a kicker wearing that purple helmet and purple jersey. And damn, maybe he's just, maybe he's the next Adam Vinatieri. Maybe the Vikings will just go on a Super Bowl run, and it's all because of Will Reichard, because we have the best kicker in the game. I don't know, I'm hoping. Last thing about Vikings preseason game, listen to KOC call the plays and talk to Paul Allen and Pete Burcich. I mean, that was amazing. First of all, shout out Paul Allen, Pete Burcich. Hoping to have them on the show sometime this season. I'm almost positive I can make it happen. Vikings fans are blessed to have 2 of the best in the entire league constantly doing the TV preseason games and on the radio every single Sunday. 2 of the best in the entire game. Paul Allen, the best in the entire game. Play-by-play guy. He's the best. Wouldn't trade him for the world. If you said we could get Patrick Mahomes, we had to give up Paul Allen, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up Paul Allen for Patrick Mahomes because I love the Paul Allen. I don't listen to him during Vikings games because I'm watching the game, but seeing all the touchdowns with the Paul Allen voiceover after the game is the most exciting thing ever. So if you were to ask me, trade Paul Allen for Patrick Mahomes right now, no. Paul Allen, best play-by-play in the game. LeBron shouted him out once. He's the GOAT. Wouldn't trade him for the world. Shout out Pete Burcich too. Great guy. Had the pleasure of having dinner with him once. Awesome guy. 2 of the best in the entire game. But going back to KOC calling plays, that was awesome. He was telling us what was going to happen before it happened and who needed to block who and who needed to run what route where and what the quarterback is going to be reading. Absolutely insane stuff. That should be a thing for the NFL going forward because I would pay a lot of money to listen to that during regular season games or even like see the highlights of it because I guess you couldn't do it live, but I would pay a lot of money to watch that every week. NFL, just think about it. All right, side-eye look around the league here. CeeDee Lamb got paid. Less than Justin Jefferson. Surprising. He got $1 million less per year, but the big thing was he got $10 million less guaranteed money, which was pretty surprising because I thought he was going to get paid more because that's usually just how it works. Whoever gets paid last usually gets paid the most. But he got less than Justin Jefferson, which CD deserves to get paid. But of course, Justin Jefferson deserves to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league because he's the best wide receiver in the league. It only makes sense. My Super Mega Max Goat Wheel guarantee the other week was that CD Lamb was going to get paid more than Justin Jefferson, but he didn't. Bo Nix was named the starting quarterback for the Broncos. This could go two ways. This could look like a genius move. This could look questionable. If you go from Bo Nix to Brett Rippon, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. So we'll see. But Bo Nix, he looked good. Greg Joseph won the Packers kicking job. They cut Anders Carlson. Greg Joseph, oof, how devastating would that be if Greg Joseph made like a 55-yard game-winning field goal against the Vikings in US Bank Stadium? That'd be rough. And we already kind of touched on Russell Wilson, but the Steelers can't make up their damn mind on who to start. The season is less than 2 weeks away, and they haven't named a starting quarterback. I think it's going to be Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to play for that long because he's trash, but you got to name a starter. Come on, brother. Just name him. Just name him. Doesn't matter who it is. Just name him. That was the side I look around the league. This is going to get better once the NFL actually starts because things are actually going to start happening. And I'm so sick of just talking about preseason junk and all of these minimal offseason moves that aren't going to be that important in like a month. They're not even going to be important in 2 weeks. So I'm just looking forward to actually getting into football. All right, I'll be right back with the Facebook scroll of the week. All right, we're back with the Vikings Facebook scroll of the week. I first want to shout out this guy who commented on one of the shorts I made for this podcast. He said, This is a good idea for a segment because Facebook has the worst takes I have ever seen from senile old dudes. Dude hit the nail on the head. This is exactly why I do it. Old heads with sports takes are the greatest thing in sports because they're the worst, they're the most outlandish, and they're the funniest things I've ever seen. And that's why I do it. And we got a fresh batch of posts for today's show. So let's get into it. Again, I'm not going to say the names, but if you want to go look it up, go look it up. First one, if the Vikings fail to win a divisional game this year, should the coach and GM be fired? Asking for a friend. Absolutely not. The NFC North is one of the best divisions in football. And it's not like college to where you're like, oh yeah, good in the Big Ten, bad in the non-conference. It's the NFL, dude. You're either a good NFL team or you're not. You're not, oh, we're a good divisional team. Who cares? I get you want to play good against your divisional opponents, but if you lose twice to the Lions, is anyone going to be surprised? No. If you lose twice to the Packers, is anyone going to be surprised? No. If you lose twice to the Bears, okay, it's a little surprising, but at the same time, it's like the Bears are just better than us. Every single team is better than us. We have the worst odds to win the division, and that's no reason to fire a coach because he didn't win one divisional game. You'd probably be on the warm seat depending on how those games go, but the Vikings roster just isn't built to compete with those teams right now. It will be in a couple seasons, so we'll see. Next one, Vikings should have kept Dobbs and cut Jaren Hall. This aged poorly. And he posted it, let's see. He posted it during the Vikings game. So I don't know, it must have been after a throw or something. But I don't know, why? Did you not watch the Josh Dobbs game against the Raiders, the Broncos? It was just some hard to watch football. And wanting to keep Josh Dobbs, that's just crazy work. Why would you ever, I don't know how you could watch those games last season and be like, God, he needs to stay on the team. And we're talking about quarterback threes. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on quarterback threes because it's preseason and there's nothing else to talk about. But damn, who cares? And no, Josh Dobbs shouldn't have been kept on the team. All right. This one is a little off the wall. Y'all look real stupid right now, whoever that was talking shit about my post after the draft. Told y'all JJ wasn't it. Couldn't even play a full preseason game before getting hurt. This is just a sad, sad post. I mean, this dude is trying to take a victory lap after JJ McCarthy tore his meniscus. What if JJ McCarthy goes on to win 5 Super Bowls? Then this dude is going to have to go back and address, one, his bad take after the draft of the Vikings drafting JJ McCarthy. And 2, he's going to have to address the victory lap he took when he was like, yeah, I told you guys, shouldn't have drafted JJ McCarthy. He only couldn't even play one preseason game without getting hurt. He's going to have to address both those posts after JJ McCarthy wins 5 Super Bowls for this team. Again, senile dudes taking victory laps after 21-year-old kids get hurt. Just odd fan bases. And I don't know if you guys have seen that post. I don't know who the poll was done by, but the Vikings got ranked the dumbest fans in the entire world. And this post pretty much sums it up. Taking a victory lap after a 21-year-old kid tore his meniscus. And you were like, yup, I knew that was going to happen. I knew JJ wasn't cut for the NFL. I knew he couldn't hang with the big boys. Like, get out of here, dude. Get out of here, dude. Stop taking your victory lap. I thought this one was really good. This is the topic of Lewis Seen. Just so you know, Kyle Hamilton has done what Seen did today in about 25 real games. I love that. I love the Kyle Hamilton. Oh my God, I can't even say his name. Kyle Hamilton, Lewis Seen discourse. Because whenever Kyle Hamilton does something good, Vikings fans love to remind other Vikings fans that we could have had him, including me. All those posts on Twitter do numbers. So whenever Kyle Hamilton does something, it's like, yeah, Vikings could have had him. Which they could. I'd never understood why you would trade down to get a different position when Kyle Hamilton, the unanimous number 1 safety in the draft, was right there for your taking. I mean, Kwesi fumbled that bag bad. And Lewis Seen did ball out in that preseason game. But Kyle Hamilton has done that in real games, just like this dude is saying. Preseason doesn't matter. If you're telling me Lewis Seen's best game was the second preseason game against the Cleveland Browns in his 3rd season in the NFL, that's just a bad look. It's a bad look. But yeah, I love that discourse. Kyle Hamilton's really good, and I wish he was on the Vikings. That would be insane. And as I'm recording this right now, Lewis Seen is still on the Vikings. I doubt that's going to stay true by the time I post this. It is Tuesday at 1:38, and I'm willing to put a lot of money by tomorrow, Wednesday, when you're listening to this, Lewis Seen will not be a Minnesota Viking. I'm willing to put some decent amount of money on it. I should have saved the poll for delusional Vikings fans, or the Vikings have the most delusional fan base in the league, because this one's up there. Vikings haven't won a single preseason game under O'Connor. Not O'Connell, O'Connor. Embarrassing. If you can't even get your team ready for the preseason, you absolutely need to go. This dude definitely sat down in his trailer park and was like, fucking O'Connor, can't get the Vikings ready for the preseason game. We need to fire this dude now. We need to fire this dude now. And obviously he posted this a while back because the Vikings are 3-0 in the preseason now. But firing a coach over not winning a preseason game would be the most insane yet Minnesota Vikings thing to do. If you can't get these boys pumped up for the preseason, how are you going to do it in the regular season? Doesn't make no damn sense. That's what that dude is saying. And he thought he was cooking too. But then he said O'Connor. And he stopped cooking. Bro thought he was cooking and he was just making ice. What a damn shame. And then the last post here. not really a post, but this thing is trending. Franchise winning percentage in Super Bowl era. Cowboys, number 1, .599, 5 Super Bowls. Pittsburgh, number 2, 589, 6 Super Bowls. Ravens, 569, 2 Super Bowls. And your Minnesota Vikings are 4th. The 4th best winning percentage in the Super Bowl era out of every NFL team. And the Minnesota Vikings have 0 Super Bowls to show for it. And right behind the Patriots, .555, or right behind the Vikings, the New England Patriots, .555, 6 Super Bowls. .554 is the Miami Dolphins, 2 Super Bowls. And the Green Bay Packers, .552, 4 Super Bowls. The Vikings have a better winning percentage in the Super Bowl era than the Patriots, Packers, 49ers, and Chiefs, but yet have 0 Lombardi trophies to show up for it. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, Vikings fans. But I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I wouldn't want to be a fan of any other team besides the Minnesota Vikings because, man, oh man, when that Super Bowl hits, it's going to hit like crack. I'm going to be addicted to it. I'm going to want more. And J.J. McCarthy is going to give me more. J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell are going to give me all the Super Bowls I had ever hoped and dreamed for ever since I was just a little kid. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, that concludes Vikings Facebook post of the week. We're going to move on to my Super Mega Max Goat Whale guarantees. We got some fresh ones for you. Oof, last week, rough week. Rough week. The video of the dude yelling "Go Birds" in the Vikings lady face will circulate again. That didn't happen. And I blame Minnesota weather for that not happening. I blame Philadelphia weather for it not happening. It was too beautiful of a day for people to sit down and watch preseason football. So I blame Mother Nature for this one not working. Not making excuses, but I blame Mother Nature for this one not happening. A video of a Vikings/Eagles fan getting into it will happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I was kind of close. Raiders-49ers preseason game got into it. It's always 49ers fans, I tell you. And last year when I was at the Vikings-49ers game, there was a 49ers fan who tried to shove a Minnesota Vikings fans down the flight of stairs in my section after the game was over because the 49ers just lost. What a sorry fan. You could literally kill someone pushing them down those concrete flight of steps. And the 49ers fan had no regards. He was like, what? You stepped on my shoe, bro. You stepped on my shoe. And he was luckily, there was a Vikings fan in front of him and people were trying to go down the steps. So he kind of got caught up with some people. But 49ers fans, man, leave it to them. They're the craziest. They're the craziest in the league. KOC will confess his love for McCarthy. I don't think this happened, unfortunately. KOC was talking a lot about Jaren Hall and Matt Corral, and they weren't really talking about J.J. McCarthy. I should have known that. We kind of moved on. Kind of is what it is. Out for the year. But, Super Mega Max Goat Whale guarantees of the week. I got three new ones for you, and I promise you they're going to hit. Again, I don't put them on here if they're not going to hit. Forget last week. I don't put them on here if they're not going to hit. We've talked about Russell Wilson a lot. Russell Wilson will be named the Steelers' starting quarterback. It's going to happen. Coach Tomlin said it's going to happen by the end of the week, and Russell Wilson's going to be named the starter. We're going to check that one off next week. By next week, we are going to check that one off. Ding. We're 1 for 1. Next one. Nobody will get hurt at Vikings practice. It's going to be a clean week. Again, we're gonna ding 2 for 2. This is going to happen. I'm not jinxing it at all. You can't jinx the Minnesota Vikings. Impossible. This is going to happen. I promise you. No injuries. Vikings are going to announce their 53-man roster. That's going to be the 53-man roster to start the season. No changes, no injuries. Clean week at practice. Last one. I'm going to the fair tonight. So, by the time you're listening to this, you're going to know if this happened or not. I will not throw up from the Minnesota State Fair food. It's happened before. And I don't want to say it happens often when I eat a lot of food, but when it's fried food and the State Fair and a combination of a lot of things, it could happen. But Super Mega Max Goat Whale guarantee of the week, it's not going to happen. I can promise you that. I'm not going to throw up because of the State Fair food. I'm going to try the deep fried ranch. I'm going to try the cheese curd tacos. And of course, I'm going to get some cookies. And I'm going to get a turkey sandwich. If you guys haven't tried the turkey sandwich at the State Fair, it's right next to the milk stand, the all-you-can-drink milk. Another note, you're psychotic if you get that. If you're doing all-you-can-drink milk at the fair, you're psychotic. But it's right next to that. Best turkey sandwich you'll ever have. It's so gas. Damn. My stomach's rumbling just thinking about it. I'm going to get that tonight. But I'm not going to throw up after eating the State Fair food. I'll promise you that. It's not going to happen. All right. Week 1 against the Giants. I saw that the Vikings are favored on some websites. And that's really interesting because the Vikings were like underdogs in their first 10 games. But I'm looking forward to week 1. We're going to have so many more great things to talk about when Vikings football starts kicking off. People are going to be paying attention. It's going to be the best. And I can't wait for it. And I'll preview it a little more next week, but I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling confident week 1. I think the Vikings offense is going to come out blazing. Defense is going to play like their head got cut off. Brian Flores is going to make Daniel Jones crap himself with all the different looks he's going to be giving them. You don't want to play a Brian Flores defense week 1. It's a rough matchup, especially for a guy like Daniel Jones who's struggling and needs a lot of help. And the one thing that I'm worried about for the Vikings defense is their run game. And I don't think the Giants run game is going to be all that great. So I'm looking forward to week 1. I think the Vikings are going to win. They're like one. It depends on what book you look at, but sometimes they're 1-point favorites, sometimes they're 1-point underdogs. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. And it's going to be a game nobody watched. Like the Vikings have officially reached that point in their timeline that they're becoming a team that nobody's going to watch or care for because it's just like the Vikings are just back to being bleh. You know what I mean? So we're not going to really make national headlines that much, especially with J.J. McCarthy hurt. So we'll see what happens. I'm typing in my name the most random Vikings player you can think of to ChatGPT. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Tune in next week. I can't wait for the regular season to start. Football is almost back. Football is almost back, people. Almost back. All right, everyone got their guess. I'm going to go with Pat Williams. Pat Williams, Fat Pat, baby, number 94. Here we go. How about Herschel Walker? See, that was one I could have actually got. How about Herschel Walker? He was a big name in the NFL, but had a relatively short stint with the Minnesota Vikings in the early 90s. His career is often more associated with the Dallas Cowboys and his post-football endeavors, so he might not be the first name that comes to mind when thinking of Vikings players. You know what, ChatGPT? That's exactly right. Herschel Walker, man, one of the worst trades in professional sports history. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to be back with an all-new episode next Wednesday. I can't wait for football. Hang in there, guys. We're almost there. Appreciate you.